What's going on, family? You are now listening to the Fitness Headspace podcast. This is officially episode number 12 of the Fitness Essentials 101. So first and foremost, if you guys could do me a quick favor, go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe, and we're going to get straight into it as usual. So what I wanted to let you guys know is that within the last 2 weeks, I've been working with a website designer that's been putting everything together because, like I said, I'm a man of my word. So I wanted to bring together a website where you guys can reach me directly, not only just for my services, but also for free resources as well, too. So we're going to have ebooks. We're going to have things like different types of recipes. We're going to have different articles that you can read that have been published. And I'll always cite if it's something that I find from elsewhere as well, too. And then we're going to have pre-orders ready for some t-shirts, man. So like I said, we got some really dope stuff coming up in the mix right now. And then we got the programs that are going to go live shortly. Can't put any date to it just yet. Like I literally can't. But yeah, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. And what I wanted to do was start it off with the first topic of discussion, first segment, is going to be fitness for all. So one of the things that I think a lot of people don't really think about when they're, working out for the first time, they're just primarily trying to get in there and do what it is, right? And what I mean by do what it is put the work in, just kind of go through the motions, see what they like, what they don't like, see how things feel, and see what they're going to come back the next day and do, right? Which is that's fine. But the thing is nobody focuses on form. So just because you could lift the heavy weights doesn't mean that you can lift them properly. So you want to make sure that you're avoiding any type of future injuries if possible. You get what I'm saying? So the last thing you want to do is lift heavy and do a PR in front of the friends and the boys because it looked cool. And then, you have a herniated disc now because of that one time, because the form wasn't good. You know what I mean? So these are things that you have to be very mindful of, but you don't see that often as far as people teaching that to other people. So if you're in the gym and you see somebody doing that, at first, depending on the type of person they are, because, some people come off a little creepy, man. Like, you can't be in the gym and, a young lady's working out and you watching her from afar, bro. That's not cool. You get what I'm saying? But now if it's where, for example, I'm training with one of my clients, or one of my friends or whatever the case is, and we see somebody, we're like, ooh, and they'll just give me that look like, if you want to, you could go help them really quick. Because it's just like you want to share that energy, you want to share that positive information and make sure that people are being aware of not hurting themselves and causing future injuries. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, if I have that opportunity, I'm going to, but hey, listen, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. It depends on who the person is. You get what I mean? So if it's somebody where they might seem like they might not receive that information the way that I would expect them to, and again, you can't really assume. You just do what you got to do, and if they don't want the help, it is what it is. But it's just, again, the vibes, man. There's certain vibes that people give off me like, nah, I'm good. You get what I'm saying? So remember, your form is really important because, again, you don't want to cause any injuries that you could have prevented in the first place. So the second topic is being mindful of the little things. So for me, it's the small things that count. And that's what will make a difference between, for example, a personal trainer and a fitness coach, right? So the fitness coach is going to be a little bit more well-rounded, and the personal trainer, we getting our feet wet. We just trying to make it do what it do. So basically, that's one of the things you got to be mindful of. So when you are in these two different stages, we're going to notice things a little bit differently. And it's the same thing with a beginner and an advanced person or intermediate person. So that's basically what I was trying to get to. It's trying to give you an analogy of what it looks like. So for trainers, it's like, hey, we start as a trainer, but as we progress or evolve, plug in, then what happens is that you turn into a fitness coach, because now it's not necessarily just about the fitness functionality and training. It's also about lifestyle and different factors to make sure that they're maintaining healthy habits so they can continue to see success within the goals that they're reaching. You get what I'm saying? So these are the type of things that we think about. And what I say we is the coaches. We all go through the phase. There's nothing bad about it, but you should do the same thing with when it comes to your training programs. So start small, same thing. Start with your form and that's the form is foundation. Like whenever you hear me say foundation, foundation is going to be like your form, like your building blocks, and that's the foundation for anything that you're building. You need a foundation, right? So it's the same concept. So now once you have that foundation, you add in the little things as well too, which is, for example, you got your foundation, you got your form right. Now we're going to start focusing on what type of weight we want to lift, how many reps we want to do, what exact type of goal or goals you want to reach as far as body type, because you don't really want to be focused on that scale, like I always say as well too. You just really want to focus on how you look and how you feel at the end of the day. So again, be mindful of the little things. Or for example, the last one I have for that, I hate to drag it out, but it's for myself as well too, but I'll train with some of my friends and they'll be like, yo, this hurts. I hate this one the most. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one we need to work on the most then, because that's the one that you work on the least. So again, small things count. So the next one is take photos as evidence. So it's really good to have different forms of progress. So I've said it before in videos. People will use things like the scale. The scale is cool and all. I don't really focus on the scale anymore. It's just an ideal of where we are. The one thing that I really love going to is body measurements along with pictures, and also changing, not changing, but seeing how your clothes fit you differently is what I mean by change. So those are the things that I use more so as opposed to just the weight itself. So somebody could tell me that, they want to weigh 150. Like I have a client of mine now, she hit her 150 mark and I was like, do you want to go down any lower? She was like, no. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? Because we've had this conversation. Like I've known her for almost 2-3 years now, and we always joked about it. I told her, like, listen, I'm telling you, the way you're pulling, like you're shaping out, you don't need to be any lower than 150. And she got there. She's like, yeah, I don't really. I'm like, she's like, you're right. I was like, I told her, I was like, it's not even about being right or wrong. It's just more of at this point, the number doesn't even matter. If you like how you look, you just want to focus on legs, let's focus on legs. We're actually going to go up a little bit in weight to stay in a caloric surplus, but that's for another time. But yes, so take pictures. So the way that I always have all my clients take pictures, whether they're online clients, and I don't see them that often, or if it's somebody in person, I'll have the people that are in person take pictures, and I'll have them hold all their pictures. I'll just make sure that they're accounted for. Yes, I do trust them to take the pictures because it's not going to disservice me, right? It's really benefiting them. But at the end of the day, what's going to end up happening is as you're documenting everything and you're looking at everything and you're looking back, you're like, okay, cool. Well, I had month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, etc. Right. And the way that you want to do it is be on a flat colored wall if you can. And for males, you'll like have boxers on more than likely. And you're going to stand facing, the front, the camera to the side. Usually I'll do my hands on my sides, or I'll sometimes put my hands up like in a, walking out like a zombie position, whatever you want to call it, like Frankenstein. And then I'll turn around to my back, arms to the side, and then, the side profile again, and then arms up. And then from there, basically that's it. And you do that in the same spot. If you can, clean ones, men, clean ones, clean draws, same color, same ones, every month, same day of the month. All right, ladies, it's a little bit different. I would probably say something like a bikini or something that you feel comfortable in, or even like boy shorts or whatever the case, and like a sports bra. And you'll do the same exact thing, front, side, back, side. And once you have all that done, you just track it again. And for ladies, what I would say is when you're doing your weigh-ins and check-ins and stuff like that, make sure you're not around your cycle. If you can be slightly after, so you're not bloated and things of that sort. So it kind of gives you a real idea of what you're looking like. And you'll probably notice the biggest difference in like the waist area, the back, and then, the back of the legs as well too, like right around the glutes, like your hamstrings. So those are going to be some of the areas, and also the thighs too, inner thighs. So these are going to be some of the areas that you'll notice for the ladies. Men, kind of the same situation. It'll be more like chest, back, probably midsection as well too. And everybody genetically, you're going to lose your fat in different places as opposed to another person. So for me, I hold mine on my legs. I know some people hold theirs on their back as the last place. For me, that's the last place. That's the first place that's super, super lean, right? So use that as a small little crutch too. So what we're going to do, I have one last one, and then we're going to go into the next segment. But it's not even really a bullet point. It's just more of something that I wrote out. So you'll never know what you're made out of until you push yourself to the limits. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people take for granted. You know what I mean? So if you sit in the same position over and over again, doing the same exact thing with no different, no separate results, or the results don't pan out to be different, then basically, what exactly are you doing? Right? So what I mean by that is it's just like people, for example, who've never flown, or who never got on a plane, right? Or never got out of their actual state. Sometimes their city in the state, right? Like 30 minutes for some people is like 2-3 hours in their eyes. You get what I'm saying? So think about that. So you have to push yourself. You have to be in positions where you're uncomfortable. There's going to be things that you're not going to like doing, or days you feel like not getting up and doing what you have to do. But that's what the whole hustle and the process is about. You know what I mean? So I digress. Now, on the fitness myths. So hiring a personal trainer, coach, whatever you like to call that person, will fix everything for you. Now, I mean, I think it's quite obvious. I can't be the person that's going to be pushing you all the time. It's a two-way street, right? We have to work with each other. We have to get to know each other. We have to understand what the goals are and what the plan is to get towards and reach those goals, right? So it would be more like to look at it as like a get out of jail free card. Like, yo, I got a coach. I could just do what he tells me to do. I could still slack, but I'm going to the gym though. Like, bro, no. That ain't it. Pause. That ain't it. You get what I'm saying? So, you really just want to be mindful of understanding that when you have a coach, and if you have a good coach, we're going to make sure we push you, right? So you're going to have days where you don't feel like getting up. You're just going to get up. It just is what it is. I'm calling you. Where you at? Oh my God, I'm late. Cool. That's fine. It happens. Come. That doesn't mean you don't come. You're going to have to understand that you're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone. That is what it is, right? Understanding that I'm going to have to challenge you for you to persevere some of the things that you personally have to go through to have a healthier relationship with your body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. You get what I mean? So that's one thing to keep in mind too. Okay, so this next one is, if you work out today, you can be laxed with the diet. And I don't think nobody needs to tell you that answer, because that's a no. That's a no, homie. That's a no, that ain't it. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's just like what I spoke about beforehand. You can't have an unhealthy relationship with working out and consuming food, right? And looking at it as a total number. So saying that you burnt 400 calories, so you feel like you can eat 400 calories of junk food at that, not even, a decent meal. And my thing is when somebody tells me a lax diet, what exactly is a lax diet? That might not even be barely a diet at that point. You get what I'm saying? So that's what's more concerning to me. Cheat day, that'd be different. Cheat meal, okay, even better. Refeed, whatever the case is, all right, we could deal with that. So again, just being very mindful that although you're going to the gym doesn't mean that you can slack on your diet. Like, that's still going to be the basics. That's going to be the principle. You still have to put in that work. There's not going to be any excuse, and nobody's going to get up and do it for you. So you might as well get up and do it yourself and thank yourself for it later. Trust me, it'll be a good feeling. So now, number 4, if the number on the scale isn't going down, you're not losing weight. So, like I mentioned before, just because you don't see the number going down on the scale does not mean that you're not losing weight. Okay. And the fact of the matter is, we're not even trying to lose weight. We're trying to lose body fat. We're trying to reduce our body fat. So we want our body fat and muscle ratio to be drastically different. So of course we want more muscle. That's what's going to be healthier, clearly. And when it comes to your other half of the situation, your fat is it's not going to be the healthiest thing for you, right? Especially like visceral fat, which is going to be something that's lined around the organs. So we don't want to have that fatty tissue there. So at the end of the day, that's going to be one of the things you want to be mindful of. But in regards to you actually losing the weight, so men, we don't really have, it's kind of linear with men. Like I haven't really seen crazy issues besides like stress, not sleeping, not eating, stuff like that. But for women, ladies, you have to remember that you do have a cycle. So if I were to weigh you while you're on your cycle and like it just hit, you're going to be bloated. You're going to be heavier. You're going to look soft. You're going to look, a little fluff. And as opposed to when you're done and waiting a day or two after you're done, then we'll get all of that bloating. Basically, it should be all the way out, depending on the person, of course. I don't know. I'm not a woman, but I'm just going by experience. And once we get those 1 to 2 days out of the way, then they're usually good to go to get on the scale. And it's like nothing ever happened. So keep in mind also, this is why you have the other factors as well too. So the scale might tell you, hey, you're still at 160, 162. But at the end of the day, your body fat has dropped drastically. Your clothes don't even fit the same anymore. On top of that, you're noticing your body change, right? So if you're noticing your body change for yourself, something is really like it's popping. Other people are going to notice it for you. But if you can notice it, I'm telling you, that's going to be the main difference for you personally. But again, I don't use that. And of course, measurements. So let's say that you're not going down in actual like scale weight, but your measurements are looking better and better. Does the weight really matter at this point? You get what I'm saying? Because we're still getting the results that we need. So this is why I don't even sometimes, like I've been checking all of my clients later as far as their weight, like every 6 weeks. And I do that to get it out of their head for in regards to trying to step on the scale. But there's certain clients where I have to do on a week-to-week basis just to make sure they're on top of it. You know what I mean? Just because I don't scale you for 6 weeks, you think that everything's cool and Gucci. Like, nah, I need to be on your ass and make sure on a week-to-week basis I'm holding you accountable. Right? So that's that. As far as just in case you don't see the scale going down, there's other factors you could put into play. So last but not least, we have diet and nutrition for the last segment. So slow down. Slow down is number one. And I've told people multiple times that your eating speeds will show small things like, for example, people who have a higher body mass index, so like their BMI, as opposed to slower eaters, right? So, and also your appetite controls your eating. So if you tend to eat slower and you have a lot of something, you won't tend to overeat and overstuff yourself. So by the time that your body begins to process everything, it's not super late. So for example, it's going to take about 20 minutes for your brain to receive these messages too. So when it comes to eating slow, it's like, ooh, I'm okay, yeah, I'm good, as opposed to just snarfing it down, and then 20 minutes passes and it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So there's that too. The next thing is increase your protein intake. So protein is going to be more than likely the most satiating thing for most people, and that's why I said more than likely. Everybody's different. Like, so for me, for fats was really good for me at a time, but now I don't even know with my body anymore. But at the end of the day, that's going to be one of the most cost efficient for most people besides like seafood. Your protein is going to be not necessarily the most cost effective because carbs are realistically, but the fact that you can incorporate more protein, you're going to have a decreased level of a certain hormone called ghrelin. So that's going to be the hunger hormone. So if you're able to reduce that with a high protein meal, then that'll give you a heads up, well, one up more so on how to, and that'll also prevent you from eating additional food or additional calories in that time that you don't need to be eating. So you have like, small little options for, they kind of like mix of fats and proteins, but so you have like nuts, so you have peanut butter, or you have your nut butter like almond butter. I think cashew has one as well too, and there's some other ones too. Like I think I have tamari. This is what I have, and you have like eggs, beans, and lean meat, of course. The third one is replace your favorite fast food restaurant. So if I could make a suggestion to most people, is that if you're going to eat out more than once out of the week, how about you tell me the place you go to the most, or you tell me the three, and whichever one that I feel like is probably the one we need to make the biggest adjustment on with your agreement, then we'll change that first. So that's what I would suggest. All right. So if that means that you like going to KFC, Popeyes, and Burger King, I would tell you that, hey, if you have the option, like, is there Chipotle around? Is there Pollo Tropical around? Is there something like that around? So you can use that instead to still get that same type of food or the flavor that you're looking for without having to worry about, the back end as far as it being horrible for you internally. I'm just not gonna sugarcoat it. So last but not least, try at least one new recipe, healthy recipe per week. So the good part is that we have the internet. So you have IG, you have Facebook, you have Pinterest, and all these other websites. Utilize that. Spice it up a little bit. If you're getting tired of what you're eating, use that. Use that opportunity to try something new, and even with the ingredients that you already have at home before having to go back out to the store and buy new things, right? So just get out of that normal thinking of like, hey, this is all I could eat, this is all I want to do. Spice it up a little bit. You'll be surprised of what you can cook up and what you can chef up and what you bring to the table now. So before you know it, if you do once a week for the next 12 weeks, you have almost 2 weeks worth of food as far as the experience of making it your food that you like to eat personally. You get what I'm saying? So, but family, that is the end of episode 12. So what I'm going to do, I have one recipe for the week that I'm going to put at the bottom in a link. It's called Chicken Tikka Masala. It's an Indian dish, one of my favorites, and it has all the macros and everything on there as well too, based on the serving size. It's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty accurate enough for me to tell you like, hey, you cool. But again, if you guys haven't already, if you made it this far, thank you so much. I'd appreciate it if you like, share, comment, subscribe, share to a friend so we can help each other grow within this community that we call Evolve Fitness. All right. Team Evolve, baby. Where we get fit and we don't quit.